Hello my lovelies on YouTube. Today we are spending some time in my lovely little garden because I've got a few bits and bobs that I want to do today. But first of all, let me introduce you to a new addition. This is my grandpa's old bike. So we've salvaged that from his house and at the moment it's living near the new pond. I hoped you saw the creation of that new addition. We've got my nan's rocking chair, which was also featured in that video. And some of you were asking about the horse statue that's behind my apple tree. Long story short, she was in a garden centre in Mablethorpe when I went on a day trip out with my grandparents and my mum and a school friend. I really fell in love with her. And so my grandpa decided to buy her for me. And she's very, very heavy, but we managed to lay her across our knees on the back seat of the car, upside down, the entire way home. And that was, oh my gosh, many, many, many years ago. And ever since then, she's lived in every garden of every house we've ever had. And her name is Mabel because she was found in Mablethorpe, obviously. Anyway, today we have got some really nice things that we're going to do. I'm going to be picking some of the vegetables that are ready from my garden beds. I know my lettuce is ready to go. I'm thinking potentially my carrots, and we're just going to look at what else is going on in there. We're also going to be doing a little bit of a crafting project today, and I'm also going to be letting my bird babies out, of course, whilst I spend time in this beautiful sunshine. So, yeah. Let's get messy. Oh my gosh, the sunshine came out at the perfect time when I said that. We've also got some new fairy lights for the tree because when my mum was cutting it down the other day, she accidentally snapped one of the wires to the bird fairy lights that we used to have. So they had to go in the bin, unfortunately. And we've replaced them with these lovely kind of fairy inspired ones that I think are really sweet. I hope you're all enjoying my gardening fit for today. It's very British, very daytime TV presenter kind of outfit. I feel like I should be presenting a daytime gardening show right now where I kind of jump into shot like, hello, okay, today, I could do that, you know, I could do it. BBC, just, you know, hit me up, or just do the classic walk into shot. So today we're in the north of England to meet Abigail. Now, Abigail's been living in the city for nigh on 25 years, but she's finally decided that she wants to bring a slice of the countryside right here in the city. Let's see how she gets on. Let's do the most important thing because they are absolutely desperate. Okie dokie, come on then. Who's ready? You're right there. Did she just fly directly at you? Sorry about that. The aviary is actually not too dirty because they've been let out for 3 days in a row now, so there's not actually much to do. And for the people who've been commenting on the fact that I should wear a mask when I do the aviary, I actually do most of the time. In fact, on some of my videos, I am wearing the mask that I usually wear, but I don't do that every single time because obviously when I'm making a video like this, it's quite restricting to have a massive mask over my face. I mean, we've all been there, we all remember COVID. So occasionally I will not wear a mask, but pretty much the rest of the time I do. So please don't panic. But anyway, I'm going to sweep this out really quickly and then we're going to have a look at the garden beds. Today's video really has no plan. It's just an excuse to hang out, really. That's all it is. So off to the outhouse just to quickly grab my little basket so I can collect some of the veg. There's a few bits and bobs in here that need to find their way to a charity shop right now, so that's why I'm not showing you inside. After we did a big outside clearance, we did a big inside clearance as well. So as soon as we actually cleared that space, we ended up filling it up again. But that's okay because at least it's organised and soon it will be usable again. And for those wondering what I use my outhouse for, because I had a few questions about that, mainly storage of like Christmas decorations and things like that, but also just a place to sit, a place to keep gardening stuff in, crafting stuff in, you know, things like that. So it's kind of a multifunctional kind of space. In fact, why don't we just use the colander and then we can just put the lettuce straight in and bring it in to be washed. Then we're, you know, killing two birds with one stone, aren't we? That is definitely a phrase I should not use. Oh my goodness, look at all this. This looks absolutely fantastic. So we're gonna try and get as much of this as possible. And I think if we cut sort of the head of the lettuce off, then it should continue to grow. And I think if you use a little bit of ash from your fire in place of where you've just cut, then it will grow even better. So says my research from 1940s allotment guidance. So we're just gonna go for it. And we've got the colander right next to me. So is this gonna be sharp enough or is this too blunt? Oh, there's a little gnome in here, I didn't even realise. Shows how much it's grown, he's been hidden. Hello, there we go. You've done a very good job at guarding it. Oh my gosh, it's so thick. Well, that is a lot of lovely homegrown lettuce that I can go and wash and I can start using in my salads day to day. I also want to check my carrots whilst I'm here, but I really have no idea what we can expect under here. And I think the only way to find out is just to dig slightly around them and see if there's a carrot underneath. So that's what we're gonna do. Hey, stop it. Leave my veg alone. Do we have a little carrot? We did have carrots, but they were both still pretty teeny weeny and so not ready for the harvest just yet. So I decided to put them back to bed and allow them a bit more time to grow so that by the time they were ready for picking, it would be a carrot fit for a human rather than a borrower. Then we move on to garden bed number 2, where you can see my impressive pea plant, if I don't say so myself, and also my tomato plant. But you can also see the need for some serious maintenance. Yes, these plants be drooping and we need to fix that. I didn't think about this. So what I need is just a really long stick to support them and help them keep their shape as they grow a bit taller. As you can see, I've tried, but they're not long enough. But look, we've got some things coming through here, so I really don't want it to droop. So let me see if I can find anything. Okay, one big stick. It's the best I could do. We're just going to see if this can work temporarily to help keep this baby upright. It doesn't not work, so that's reassuring. And then we just got one for my tomato plant, just to help it keep its balance a little bit. Right, it'll do. And now we're ready to pick the peas. So what I'm doing here is just gently feeling the pods, and if they are softer and they kind of mold to your touch, then they're not quite ready. But if they're more rigid and hard and they do keep their shape, then they are ready to pick. So I can see this one is ready straight away, as well as all of their brothers and sisters. These ones on the left are all good to go, whereas the right-hand side ones aren't quite ready yet. So we're just going to partake in some good old pea picking and just open these bad boys up. And you can see here some lovely garden peas, perfect colour, perfect shape. I am super proud of them. And I also find pea picking itself to be quite therapeutic. I'm not sure whether it's because of the sound that it makes when you break into the pod. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But these are all looking fabulous. Some of them could have been left potentially a tad longer, but you know what? Every pea in this garden is perfect. I know, you're all fed up, waiting for me. Hello. I know, I'm back. I'm going as fast as I can. Ugh. I'm giving him a really big fly today because I don't think I'll be able to let them out tomorrow because I won't be here. So what I like to do is the day before, give them a load of time just to kind of expend all of their energy, and then they're not as mad at me when I haven't let them out the next day. Plus, maintenance-wise, it's much easier to keep them clean if you clean them every day. And it sounds really, I don't know how it sounds, but you know when you think to yourself, nobody does the job quite as well as you do? That's how I think about this aviary. Like when I've been on holiday and it's been left to somebody else in my absence, you can just tell that I've not been here to keep it clean because it's not quite to the standard of cleanliness that I like to keep it. I like people to be shocked that pigeons live here. You know what I mean? That's the level of clean I like it to be. Not long now. We're also going to give them an option for a bath today, just because why not? So we're going to fill up their bath. So dramatic. They're so dramatic. Literally nothing happens. They fly around like maniacs. Okay, who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready? Okay, we ready? We ready? Right, move then. Move, move, move. Watch this. Go! Go! Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, is that all of them? Look what I've just found on the sunflower seeds. I know exactly where this little guy is going to live. So I'm not going to put them right in the pond, but I'm going to put them just here, right next to it, so that they have the option of where they'd like to go. So I wasn't entirely sure when I'd get a chance to do this crafting project, but seeing as I have some time this afternoon, I thought, why not? And we're not doing this thing with any level of thoroughness or artistry, to be honest, because we've got an array of fence paint and door paint, and we're just gonna kind of go for it. But these are my two lovely little fairy doors. One that I've had since childhood. That is the old house number of a house I grew up in, one of the houses I grew up in, and one that I found at a charity shop nigh on a week or so ago. Now, I want these to be neighbours. I want them to be little fairies that live next door to each other near my new natural wildlife pond. So what I'm thinking for this one is a kind of mint green, sort of duck egg blue, or should I say willow green, matte willow green door with a brown trim around the bottom and above it as well. And then this door, I'm thinking a nice, it's just called red, a nice red, which is the same red that I use for my front doorstep. Not sure what to do about this bit. Don't know whether to spray paint that gold. I think I've got some gold spray paint left over. That might add a bit of magic to it actually, because this has got gold on it anyway, so I think I'm gonna go for gold for this one as well. But because this one has got paint on it already, we're just gonna wash it with a bit of sugar soap, because it will make it easier to paint with. I feel like I'm doing an episode of Blue Peter or something. This is so fun. I used to have a friend who actually used to make fairy doors. It's a really nice, easy thing to do. And you know, if you've got kids or grandkids, you know, they absolutely love it. Sadly, I was never one of those kids that was honoured with the fabled Blue Peter badge. Not that I'm holding a grudge or anything. Okay, I'm gonna leave this one to dry. Does it actually open? That would be so cute. It does! Oh my gosh, fantastic. I don't even have proper paintbrushes. These were the only two I could find. So that's what we're using today. And I'm just gonna grab a bit of newspaper in case I need to sort of cordon off part of the door so that I don't paint over it. As in, you know, if I need to avoid the handles or something, at least I've got a bit of newspaper to help me stick to my edges. And we're just gonna go for it with our fence paint, because I'm sure whatever we do today together will end up looking lovely. And so I got straight to work by painting the outer rim of this door a lovely fence-like brown. But would you believe that my process was very quickly halted when the heavens decided to open and we were treated to some very classic British weather. Oh my goodness gracious me, that rain was torrential. So we've basically had to start again because everything, look, it's just soaked, but we're not gonna let it deter us. A bit of British weather? Absolutely not. So we're gonna go again with the brown trim, which we did unfortunately have to wash off because it just got too wet. And then we're going to let it dry somewhere not out here, and then move on to the other door, which hopefully hasn't gotten too wet with the rain and might have actually dried for us to paint. Okay, we're just gonna let that one do its thing and then try and have a go with this nice red, which needs a good old stir. And before we go in and paint, I'm just gonna spray paint the door handle and this bit like I said I would, and then it will be easier to paint around that. Okay, so we're going to leave all this to dry, hopefully, if the heavens don't open again. Then we're going to do a second coat of brown for one fairy door and then go in with the red straight away on the second fairy door. And then all we need to do is finishing touches and paint the main door on this one green, and we'll be pretty much there. It's just that the weather has heeded our progress. So we've done a little bit of gold spray, which looks really, really cute. Just adds a little bit more of a magical touch. Yes, onwards and upwards. And so I began painting one of the doors in that beautiful shade of letterbox red, which really popped actually, before I moved over to the first door and painted it in a lovely willow green, and then started doing the trim in a second coat of brown. And I really started to feel that this vision was coming together. So we are 2 coats in with the fairy door project, and I must say this task has been made a lot more challenging due to the weather. It has made everything quite damp, quite messy, things aren't drying very quickly, so it all looks a bit rough around the edges right now. But to update you, we have 2 coats on the red door, and I've also painted the other side of it, and we've sprayed the letterbox and door handle gold. There are also 2 coats on the green door and the frame around it. So I think the best thing to do now, because I'm very sticky, I'm very messy, and the weather is still weathering, is to just leave everything alone, allow everything to dry, and then I'll revisit it in the morning, give everything a nice little touch up, make everything look a little bit more polished, but not too much, because we do like a bit of shabby chic, and then place the doors in their new home and show you the final finished result, because I think they're going to look absolutely adorable. This would honestly be the most lovely little project to do with nieces and nephews or grandchildren. It's really easy, or if you're like me, you can just do it completely by yourself. But yeah, hopefully the results will be incredibly magical. So I've left these to dry overnight, and I'm really happy with the way that they've turned out. I think the colour schemes are super adorable, and I think these 2 would make lovely neighbours. But I wanted to do one thing further, just to really make sure all the fairies know that this is somewhere they can live if they want to. And so I purchased some fairy pegs. So as you can see, they're the shape of fairies on one side and just a normal wooden peg on the other. And what I'm thinking of doing is detaching the fairy from the peg and then using it as a kind of, I don't know what you call it, something to go on the door, just so all the fairies know that they're welcome here. And I've got some lovely purple paint, which I don't even know what that's from. I think I'm going to paint the fairies purple for both doors and then fix them to the front so that the fairies know this is where it's at. Removing the fairies from the pegs was a bit tricky, even though I tried to be very careful. I used a knife to try and slice between the fairy and the glue in the hope that the peg would just kind of pop right off, but there were a few hit and misses. But thankfully I only needed 2 good ones, and so I proceeded to paint them in that beautiful shade of purple, and I decided to use a cotton bud as the paintbrushes that I had to hand were far too large for these delicate fabled creatures. We had a couple of fairy casualties, but don't worry, if you clap, they'll come back to life. Anyway, I'm going to leave these to dry, and then I'm going to glue them onto the fairy doors. I think he's spotted the pigeon egg. Is he going to go for it? Go on then, I've left it there for you. Oh, there he goes. Oh. I've never actually caught a crow or a magpie enjoying the pigeon eggs I leave out for them. I've always just assumed that's where they go. But yeah, this is really special. Because like I say, these sorts of birds are very territorial. So if a bird of prey came into the area, these would be the first kind of birds alongside crows that would shoo it away, get it out of their area, which in turn helps my pigeons. So yeah, this is great. I've never seen this actually happen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. What is it? 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl? Oh dear, I've caused absolute carnage. Being underneath this brolly, just like getting on with my crafts, makes me feel like one of those National Geographic people that goes out and films wildlife. I feel like I'm in a hide right now. But I'm just underneath my brolly, doing my little crafts, but yeah. Oh, they're sharing it. sweet babies. Oh, it's like a romantic meal. Just a moment to show you the new fountain that I had to purchase. For anyone that saw me creating this tiny wildlife pond, you'll know that I had quite an expensive £99 fountain originally, which I've now had to change because, would you believe, it was faulty and it didn't work. So we've now got this lovely fish fountain to replace it, which was £15. And it just goes to show you, doesn't it, that just because something's more expensive doesn't mean it's necessarily worth the price. But anyway, let's take a look at our adorable fairy doors. Oh my goodness, I am so thrilled with the way that these turned out. I mean, I understand they're not perfect, of course, but you know what, they really add something to this area of like rockery that we've got going on with all of our little garden gnomes and the little strawberry and toadstool themed ornaments. I mean, they really do look so very sweet. And of course, they're right by our little wildlife pond, which just adds to that sense of magic and whimsy charm that I was really trying to achieve. But I think they look really adorable. I mean, there's no doubt all fairies are welcome here. And as you can see, we've already got two little neighbours in residence who are just saying hello to each other. But yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with the way that this little, again, weekend project turned out. So let me know in the comments if you'd ever give something like this a try. I just really love them. I think they're so very sweet. And what I like about this entire project is it was really organic because, like I said before, one of the doors was from my childhood and the other I found in a charity shop. And had I not found them, I never would have thought to make fairy doors. And they really add something to this area of the garden, which is becoming increasingly more magical with the fairy lights and bird houses and now the natural wildlife pond. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with how this very spontaneous decision turned out. It just reminds me to keep embracing life's little gifts and not to try and exact too much control over what happens, but rather be open to the little moments that are out there for finding if we look hard enough.